a grave mistake. Even if Private Bergdahl had been captured heroically on the field of battle, every American trooper in Afghanistan now is in more danger than he was. There's a trooper standing out on guard at an outpost on eastern Afghanistan tonight, and now there's a greater price on his head.
That was Republican Arkansas Congressman Tom Cotton tonight, following a classified intel briefing on the Bo Bergdahl prisoner swap. Mr. Cotton himself is an Army veteran who served combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and he echoed concerns we're hearing over and over that swapping Gitmo detainees like these for American Bo Bergdahl will embolden the enemy. And that is not the only issue that has military brass upset. Ralph Peters is a retired United States Army Lieutenant Colonel and a Fox News strategic analyst. Ralph, good to see you tonight. And so now we are hearing tonight that the Pentagon is angry. Many are angry over the president's so-called victory lap, parading out Bo Bergdahl's parents in the Rose Garden, having Susan Rice describe him as serving with honor and distinction. And now you've got Bo Bergdahl's parents who are reportedly upset and shocked at the backlash against them and against their son. And the question is, who exactly is to blame for that backlash?
President Obama. I mean, there's just no question about it. The boss is the guy who's to blame. Now, obviously, his public relations team is wildly incompetent. Phenomenal how idiotic the Rose Garden ceremony was. And, you know, you have to, right now the left is on this campaign to pull out all the stops and to make it about humanitarian issues. And, you know, for the left, let's say this, for the people in the military, they're not angry that Bo Bergdahl was freed. They're angry at the price that was paid. They're angry that this administration tried to portray a deserter as a war hero. They're angry because of the pandering to the Bergdahl family over the last years, giving them access and privileges that the families of our dead and wounded warriors never got. They're angry at being blindsided by this trade because the intelligence community, the Pentagon, the relevant committees in Congress all agreed that these 5 terrorist chieftains were vastly too dangerous to ever be freed. And the administration, for its own peculiar reasons, apparently to get a head start on emptying Gitmo, they thought they'd have a huge, wonderful reaction from everybody about bringing Bergdahl home, et cetera, et cetera. And what the bottom line is whatever you think about the trade itself, there are now 5 superstars, 5 superheroes in Qatar. And and Kerry today was so dismissive of, oh, they're not really a threat, but my God, even if those 5 men never leave Qatar, they are superstars and jihadi recruiting tools, but they will leave Qatar. It's not just Secretary Kerry.
I mean, this person speaks for him. Marie Harf is back at it again, Ralph. Last week we played you sound from her, the State Department spokesperson, dismissing the concerns of Bo Bergdahl's platoon leaders as suggesting they didn't know what they were talking about. And now, today, she was on a rival network, cable network, talking about those 5 terrorist leaders. And listen to how she described them.
Under this administration, we have put in place very stringent processes to determine that we can sufficiently mitigate the risk that terrorists, if they, the possibility that these gentlemen will go back to the battlefield.
Gentlemen?
Yeah. Well, you know, okay, fine. Tell us what those restrictions are. Qatar is one of the most duplicitous states on earth. Qatar funds the most extreme radical movements throughout the Middle East in places like Syria and Iraq and Libya.
Well, we're supposed to trust them. But I want to ask you this. I want to ask you this because today we had reports, that really tear at the heartstrings for many Americans, which are, speak to the torture that Bo Bergdahl supposedly endured, that they put him in a cage, that he was kept in darkness for weeks and possibly even months, and the administration and other supporters seem to be pushing back on those who are being very harsh on him.
If Bo Bergdahl had not deserted, he would not have been tortured. And all the bleeding hearts on the left need to knock it off and go to the burn ward at Fort Sam Houston Hospital in San Antonio. Bo Bergdahl, we were lied to about his health. He's going to get back to his family eventually, fine, in good physical health. Those brave soldiers and Marines and Navy corpsmen and airmen in the hospital down in San Antonio, they're never going to be completely right. They are in gruesome pain. They are not, many of them are not coming home. And I'll tell you, what about the dead soldiers And yes, they were lost looking for Bergdahl despite Secretary Hagel's nonsensical and duplicitous parsing of words. I mean, my God, look, Bergdahl's back. He's alive. Fine. But let's stop making this guy into a victim, a hero. But Megan, the other thing is, the problem is with the Susan Rices of the world, they see all soldiers as victims. And their idea of the military is from Oliver Stone movies. And let me send a message to all those on the left. Our soldiers don't want your pity, they want your respect, and they have earned it.
Ralph, thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Well, the New York Times yesterday ran a front-page story suggesting the platoon members who spoke out about Bergdahl on this broadcast had discipline and leadership problems. Really?
The only thing that matters is you have an American flag on your shoulder, and he's my brother, he's my brother, he's my brother. We're all going to ride together. We're all going to die together. And he, I guess, for whatever reason, I don't know how he felt about us, but we would all die for him. And he left.
Up next, Rick Grinnell on the new attacks on these soldiers.